very good morning to you. Beautiful Friday morning. I think I can still say Happy New Year since it's the 3rd. So, mwaka haijaenda sana. Happy New Year. Welcome to Friday. We call it Lifestyle Friday, and we have interesting discussions to benefit you and to improve your life. So, 2020 is here, day 3. If you're like me, you're probably wondering, how can I make the best of this year? How can I look back at the end of 2020 with a smile on my face thinking, I think I achieved more in this year than I achieved in the previous year. 2019 came to an end. I don't know whether you are happy with it or you are a bit sad and disappointed at yourself. You didn't achieve as much. You didn't maximize on the opportunities that 2019 had to bring. Well, that's gone. Here we are, still on day 3. So it's a fresh year. We have a big opportunity to maximize on this year. But how do we do that? How do you set yourself up to ensure you maximize and get the best out of 2020? That's what we are going to be talking about on Lifestyle Friday today. I will be introducing my guest to you in the next short while. He's not new. He's a friend of Family Media. He's been on my show quite a number of times, and every time he comes, he is such a blessing. And this morning, it's all about making the best of 2020. We need to have this discussion now, before we get into the year and then we start looking back and regretting. How do we set ourselves up to achieve the most this year? In studio with me, a good friend, and Stephen Miru, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And you?
I'm doing well. It's good to have you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Great. Stephen Miru is an architect, but he doesn't just like designing houses. He also likes designing people's lives. And that's one of the things I love about you. You know, last year you were so busy, my friend.
Yes, I was. And I thank God. And this year,
yes,
I'm going to be busier.
Wow.
Yes, because I want to make the most of it.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And that's why I called you, because from the various interviews I've had with you, man, there's some things you say and I think, wow, why didn't I think of that? So let's get into this discussion. Yes. 2020 is here. You know, it's a blank canvas for us. We've spent, this is the 3rd day we are spending, so we still have quite a number of days. How do we maximize the opportunities and the time we have in 2020? Where do we begin?
Where do we begin? First of all, may I just say Happy New Year to the viewers and to the listeners. And I do pray that this discussion will be of great benefit to all of you.
Yes.
So that at the end of 2020, we'll be looking back and saying, wow, we made the most of it.
Yes.
And then I would like to start by saying this. 2020, if you go to an optician or ophthalmist, these people who deal with the eyes,
yes,
when they talk about perfect eyesight, they say it is 2020.
I have 2020 vision.
Yes, you have 2020 vision. And that means that the year 2020, to me, should be a perfect year. It's a divine year. We can't just be talking about 2020 vision and we are in year 2020 and not have a perfect year. So this year should be perfect.
Very true.
And then I want to also say, you know, nature or the universe is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches. The supply will never run out. So if you want to make the most of it, it is out there for you to make, you know, it's waiting.
It's waiting.
It's waiting. But if you want to make the most of anything, it is up to you to become more. Because if you want more, you have to become more. If you want to get more out of anything, it is you who has to become more.
So I have to begin with me.
You have to begin with you.
Okay.
It is said that you are a living magnet. You're a magnet, and it's alive. And this magnet that is living is the one that's going to attract whatever it is that you want to yourself.
Yes.
So what does that mean? If you have a weak magnet, you will only attract a few
things.
Weak things.
Yes. Yes.
If you have a strong magnet, you will attract even what is across the boundaries. So why I'm saying it is up to you to become more is so that you can become this very powerful magnet. And we're going to look at what will make you a powerful magnet. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Because what I hear you saying is that if I want to maximize on this year, the first step is to take responsibility. Because if I'm beginning with me, it means I must take responsibility.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. So I'm going to focus on only two things, the entire discussion. One is just developing yourself to become the kind of person that is capable of attracting the things you want. The kind of person that is capable of taking advantage of the opportunities that abound. Because we've just said that nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches.
Yeah.
That means there are very many opportunities out there to make you whatever you want to become.
Okay.
But how do you attract them? And I've said the first thing is that you must be very deliberate about developing yourself. And let me tell the viewers and the listeners, right now, the best thing you can do for you is to add value to you.
I like this conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
People actually don't get paid for the work they do. People don't even get paid for the number of hours they spend in an office.
No.
Because if that was the case, you can simply walk into an office and stay there for 8 hours and get paid.
Yes.
People get paid for the value they bring on board. And if you think about the people who are paid the highest, what that means is that the organizations that are paying them have assessed them and seen they bring the highest value to the organization. So if you want to attract opportunities, you want to attract resources to you, become a person of more value. And where do you begin? The year that passed is past and is in our past, but it's a good point to begin with. How? Assess yourself and see, year 2019, what did I achieve? Did I get to the level I would have wanted to get to? If the answer is not, and I know for most people it is not, ask yourself this question: why didn't I? What is it I didn't do? What is it I could have done that I didn't do? Unfortunately, James, let me just tell you something very interesting. We are living in an information age.
Yes.
And it means at the click of a button, you can get almost all kinds of information.
Oh, yeah.
And what this has turned our people to, or our world to, is a world where you have very many ready answers. But the trouble is those answers are not necessarily for you. You can Google a lot of stuff, but that stuff does not necessarily resonate with you. We are living in what I call an answer-rich environment, but it is a question-poor environment. If you want to change anything in your life, if you want to become better at anything, you want to become that magnet, the questions you must start asking are not the questions whose answers are readily available.
No.
These questions must relate to you. You must do an introspection. Because trust me, there are no answers to your personal questions on Google.
Very true.
The answers to you as an individual have to come from your heart. And it means you've got to start being very honest with yourself. And you have to have an inventory. If you haven't done it, it's the third day of the year. Let us get down to write an inventory. And I would advise everyone to get a diary if you haven't gotten one. And please, when you get a diary, don't just get a diary for the sake of feeling you are fulfilling some social requirement. There are a lot of people I have seen who have diaries. Perhaps they were given by friends or given at work. But those diaries, towards the end of the year, you see them being used by their children for homework. A diary is not for homework. A diary is for the kind of work I'm talking about. And I came with one just to demonstrate what I want to say. When you get a diary, use it as a journal. And what that means is that every day you start writing down the things that you want to do, the things that you want to achieve. Remember that life, by and large, is just a collection of many single days. A year has 365 of them. And whether you know it or not, the sun will rise and set and rise again and set, and the days are just going to be going. If you don't become deliberate with what you're doing with the days, the year will go just like the days went. Because the quality of life you're going to live is going to be determined by the quality of the choices you make every
day.
single day, which is why a journal becomes very important.
So basically, if you can master your day,
yes, then you master your year. Yes, because the year will be a cumulative effect of what you do with your days. And I came with this to just explain something very deep in my heart.
Yeah.
As you rightly said, I'm an architect by profession.
Yes.
And what I know about architects is that a client comes to us, he gives us his dreams, and then we put all his dreams on paper. We conceptualize, we design these lofty things, and then we show them to the client. And he will look at them and say, wow, it is good, or we can change here or change here. Whatever he says, we have to come up with a final blueprint. Because a client has to see how something is going to look like that.
Yeah.
When you see the blueprint, it's going to tell you, wow, when it's done, this is the end result. And that keeps the client very excited. If you don't do that with your life, you see something like this?
Yeah.
Doesn't it look nice?
It looks nice.
Yeah?
Looks
it's
nice.
a project I'm doing somewhere. So your life is going to need a blueprint, which you must need to do, or which you must do through your journaling. You must decide what do you want to achieve at the end of the year. Then break it down to end of the month, end of the week, end of the day. When you put it on paper, you can hold yourself to account. And let me just say this. If it's not on paper, it is vapor.
I've never had that one before.
It is true. If it's not on paper, it is vapor.
It's vapor.
Right now you can have very good ideas, James.
Yes.
But you don't write them down. And the moment you had them, you're so excited. It's something you see, if you did, it could result into some magical life.
Oh, yes.
But you get busy interviewing Steve or whoever else is in studio. The moment you leave, because you didn't put it down, you've forgotten.
You forget.
And then you try racking your brain to remember, what was that? It was vapor. It evaporated. That's what I'm saying. So if you want something to actualize in your life, please don't just have it somewhere in your mind.
In your mind.
Have these nice ideas, put them down on paper. Create your life every single day. Write down what you want to achieve that day. Remember I said you have a goal for 2020, but you've broken it down into monthly, weekly, daily. Because if every day you are able to achieve your goals, it means at the end of the week, you will have achieved your goals for the week. And if you continue with that trend, at the end of the month, you will have achieved the goals for the month. And likewise, at the end of the year, you will have achieved the goals for the year.
I want to take you back to something you mentioned in passing. And I'm thinking maybe you need to explain to us exactly what that is. You said you must take inventory. If you haven't taken inventory, take inventory. What do you mean by that, and how do I begin to take inventory of my life?
Beautiful. An inventory is basically a record of what is. So I'm saying we have just finished 2019. So many things happened in your life, in my life, in James's life. Can you put down the things that happened and then start looking at, if they were negative, how did you get there? How did you get there? Because I always tell people, I train people in personal development in Born to Lead Academy, and I tell people, if you want to know who is responsible for all your problems, just stand in front of the mirror and you'll get your answer right there.
It's you.
It is you. And if you want to know who has the solutions, again, don't go from that mirror. Just stand there. The answers are staring at you. So an inventory will mean, if at the beginning of 2019, I set out to do ABCD like most people do, they make these resolutions which last for just a couple of days because they don't commit themselves to the resolution. Write down the things that you set out to achieve. If you didn't achieve them, start doing an introspection, looking inside. What is it that you did or did not do? Because you either did an error of omission or commission. What is it you did or you didn't do that led you to not achieving those things? That is an inventory. And you start seeing, now that I'm going into 2020 deeply, how can I avoid these pitfalls?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Because it might just have been a little negligence here and there. It might just have been assumptions, because most of the times people assume.
Yes.
Maybe you could have gotten help from James, you never asked. Because if you don't ask, the answer will always be no.
Yeah. Yes.
It could just be perhaps that you procrastinated. Instead of doing things at the right time, just say, I'll do them next week.
Yeah.
And that next week never came.
Never came.
And here we are now in a new year.
In a new year. You're
Yeah.
still talking about next week.
Yeah. So that is what inventory means.
Okay.
On the other hand, because it's not good to just beat yourself,
Yes.
as you do the inventory of the things that didn't go right, also write down the things that went right, even if it's only one. Because you also need to give yourself a little morale. You know, you need to boost your esteem.
Yes.
See, at least I'm not that useless.
Yeah.
As they say, even a broken clock is correct
It's
twice in a day.
Yes, it's
So
right twice.
there
yeah.
must be something that you did right.
Yeah.
Give yourself a pat on the back for that one, and then start looking at, what can I borrow from this going forward.
I like that exercise because it's an exercise many of us don't do. We never look back to figure out how far did I come, and we never ask ourselves, why didn't this happen? We just say, you know what, maybe it was not the will of God, and then we'll try it again next year. And we make the same mistake over and over and over again. You know, I know people who've been losing weight for the last 5 years. Yeah, they've been going to the gym for the last 5 years. They get to the door and then they change their mind. I know people who've been starting a business for the last 10, 15 years. But because we never look back to think, okay, why didn't I do it? Maybe I'm afraid and I don't even realize I'm afraid.
True.
So I like what you're saying.
You know, there's a lady who comes on Churchill show.
Yes.
Called Jemutai.
Yes.
The one who
Yes.
Zimbabwe.
Yes.
The way you're talking about the gym and losing weight says that some people,
Yeah.
they keep going to the gym, but eventually the only thing they lose is morale.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because they go there, but their focus is totally different.
Yeah.
You know, they have no commitment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is why I'm really keen on the journal issue, because you need to tell yourself, if I have to achieve ABCD by the end of the year, I commit myself every day to do this. And at the end of the day, I will do an evaluation. Where am I? Did I achieve this? If I didn't achieve it, then tomorrow morning when I come back to start the day, I will know exactly what I need to improve so that I achieve. Otherwise, if you don't evaluate what you are doing every single day, then you will never be able to evaluate your year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't have accounts of your day.
No, you don't. And a year, as we say, it is a passage of many
Days.
single days.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So it is important to start with the smallest unit that you can just quantify and say it begins at sunrise, ends at sunset. What have I achieved? So
Wow.
that's a beginning point of getting more. But the other thing, because we've talked about personal development, is that you need to break your life into pillars. There is no way you're going to make the most out of what you can't define. So let's define the pillars that will help you become more. Because we said if you want to get more,
Yeah.
you
You
need
have to become more.
What
Okay.
are these pillars? That's what I would want to look at.
Hold that thought. We're going to be talking about those pillars shortly. Maybe you're tuned in and you have a thought, you have a question. Feel free to send it in 20316 SMS line. WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. How do I make the most of 2020? Because we can't have the same year. You know, the same things that happened in 2019, complaining about the same things in 2020 that we did in 2019. No, we must think differently. We must see the opportunities that are before us, and we must maximize on them. That's why we are doing this show today. Now, you had begun on 3 pillars.
No, 6.
6.
There are actually 6 pillars.
6 pillars.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll go through them very quickly.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons people don't make the most of their life, because I don't want to just think about a year.
Yeah.
I want to think about your life.
Yeah.
2020 is just a calendar year. Many people have made a lot of money making calendars and
Yes.
other things.
Yes.
You need to join the party.
Yes.
But don't just think about the year.
Uh-huh.
Yes, we are calling it the year of perfection, but I want you to think about your life, making the most of your life
life.
on every single day.
Okay.
And when I train people on personal development, I tell them there are 6 pillars that define you as an individual. If you want to make the most out of your life, you need to take care of these pillars. Make sure that every pillar is at its best. And if not at its best, at least be doing something every day to push it towards that level. And these pillars are, number 1, your spirituality.
Very important.
There's a guy called Teilhard de Chardin, Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, who said that we are not human beings having a spiritual experience.
No.
We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And that spirituality then seems all, by extension, then it means it has an eternal value to it. So you need to really every day work on this eternal being, because most of us are just focused on what is temporal. We just want to acquire things and make merry, and there's nothing wrong there. But if you are doing that in a contradiction of the commands of our Maker, then you are compromising your spiritual being.
Very true.
And because you are a spirit being, it's good to know that you are answerable to your Maker. And in the quiet solitude of your pains, this is something we always think about. And then, unfortunately, once we get out of the pain, we forget and go back to our worldly things. So it is good to think about your spiritual being and constantly consult and commune with your Maker. Because if you are right with God, He'll make things right for you.
Very true.
So that is pillar number 1.
Pillar number 1.
Just communing with your Maker. And don't do it just on Sunday, because most of us Christians are just Sunday Christians. Every day, set aside time to talk to your God. Commune with Him.
Very important.
Take Him, have a discussion.
Yeah.
And He's faithful. If you engage Him regularly, He'll answer you regularly. Sometimes we wonder why prayers are taking so long. It's because we also take too long to ask. Then the waiting list is too long. So pillar number 2 is a pillar of health. This is something many people are neglecting. And you cannot be a great achiever if you are neglecting your health, because sometimes you'll even set up a good business, it's thriving. Then because you're not taking care of your health, you find yourself in hospital. All the profits you're making are going there. Even your mind stops working well when your body stops working well. Because a healthy body breeds a healthy mind. So if you want to make the most of this year, I suggest that you begin right now, if you haven't begun, doing something about your health. Be careful about what you eat, because we are what we eat. And we have currently a lot of garbage out there.
Oh my goodness.
Things that are grown in sewage and things that have been grown using a lot of herbicides, and we need to be careful. If you can't just have a small kitchen garden to grow your vegetables and do them organically, then once you've taken care of how you eat, take care of exercise. Your body needs to be fit. You don't have to achieve Eliud Kipchoge levels, but at least make sure you control your BMI, control your cholesterol, control your BP, control the things that are within your grasp. And there are many. Regularly do what we call vitals, just taking pressure, sugar levels, things like those, and then take care of yourself. Exercise. Then sleep well. Sleep deprivation is a major cause of diseases that are lifestyle. It is also a major cause of foggy brains, foggy minds. If you don't have enough sleep, in the morning you feel foggy. And it's not just an issue of enough sleep, it's also an issue of making sure that you have a regular sleeping pattern. That you sleep at a certain time, wake up at a certain time, and then you have enough time to sleep. Because it is when you sleep that your body regenerates, it rebuilds itself, it replenishes from within. You need that so that you can be fresh and more productive for the next day. Pillar number 3 is a pillar of relationships. Most people are not careful about their relationships, and they don't know that the quality of your relationships is directly proportional to the quality of your life. Or I should say the other way, the quality of your life is directly proportional to the quality of your relationship.
Yes.
You need to have people in your life who believe in you, who support your dreams, who urge you on, and who will not hesitate to call you out when things are not right, when you're not doing right. And they will not do that because they hate you. They'll do that because they don't want to see you go to ruin.
Yes.
So you need confidence with you. And right from your most intimate relationships, you need to cultivate good friendships. Right there. There's no point of going home where your wife or your husband doesn't even want to see you.
Oh my goodness.
People who are not supporting what you are doing.
Yeah.
Because maybe you have not even taken the time to make them a part of it, or to explain it. So you need to really have good relationships. It's a pillar you cannot ignore if you want to make the most of your life.
Wow.
So let 2020 be the year when you have the best marriage if you're married. You have become you will become the best father or the best mother. Become friends with your kids. You will become the best friend, become the best son, become the best daughter, become the best of whatever relationship you have.
And that takes being intentional.
Intentional, yes, and you have to invest.
Yes.
You have to invest time. You have to invest even some resources sometimes. So you need to be, as James has said, intentional. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So pillar number 4.
Yeah.
It's a pillar of finances. And I want to say personal finances.
Personal finances.
One of the biggest headaches for most people is personal finances.
Yes.
And when I said you do an inventory, perhaps the greatest of them is how did you use whatever money came your way. The other day I was talking to a friend and he told me he went to M-Pesa. M-Pesa has a record. They can show you how much you've transacted since you registered.
Yes.
And he told me he had transacted 54 million.
Ooh.
54
million.
And the time he was telling me that, he was saying he had only between him and poverty 500 bob. And he asked himself, where has this 54 million gone? Yes. Am I just a conduit?
Wow.
And the truth is, and this is another thing we train at Born to Lead, is that you have to obey certain spiritual laws of money.
Yeah.
There is enough money in this world.
For everybody.
But it is with a few people.
Yes.
And somebody said if all the billions were taken from the billionaires and distributed equally to everyone, within a very short time, the billions will find themselves back to the billionaires. Why? Because they have developed a certain way of dealing with money. They have a relationship with money that most people don't have. They understand the spiritual nature of money. They understand the science of money. So if you're sitting there and perhaps you are a person who just survives from hand to mouth, and perhaps you're also just an employee, and there's nothing you are doing beyond your job, chances are, come the end of the year, you still find yourself in the same vicious cycle. So you need to start having a good relationship, understanding that money demands respect. If you don't respect money, money won't respect you. That also money is accelerating towards you at the same rate you are accelerating towards it, because there's a lot of money for you out there. So what speed are you accelerating towards it? And the speed is determined by the kind of activities that you are engaged in. Do you have a small business that you're doing, or you're just waiting for your boss to just pay your salary? You cannot be on salary forever. There will come a time when you don't even have the energy, and other young people will come and replace you. What will you do? So always think about your time after 5. How do you relate with money? What do you do to generate even more? Respect money, and money will respect you. It has one cardinal rule: save me today, I'll save you tomorrow. Pillar number 5. This is a very critical pillar, and it's a pillar of your mind. Your mind is one of the greatest resources you have.
But many of us don't know that.
That's a point, and it's a big problem. No, if you don't understand the power of your mind, you will live way below your privileges. And let me tell you, unless you are certified moron, unless you are a certified moron, and I'm sorry to use that on air, but I'm just saying, because nobody listening to me is, you have such a capacity that you cannot even exhaust it in your entire lifetime. we are told that an average person uses 5% of his brain power.
Wow.
Guys who are considered extraordinary use 10%. Geniuses use 11%. Can you imagine then if you just raised, if you are operating at average, you raised your level by just a percentage.
Yeah.
You'll be way ahead of so many people.
Yeah.
But how then do you make sure that you raise your level?
Mm-hmm.
The mind is, there's two things up here. There's what we generally call the brain, which is the tangible gray matter.
Yeah.
That can be compared to the hardware of a computer.
Yes.
Your mind is basically your thought processes, how you think. And that is not tangible.
No.
That is what would be compared to a software of a computer. And let me just quickly say that the brain, I read somewhere, that has what they called a capacity of 2.5 petabytes.
What?
That sounds crazy and it is technical jargon, but I wanted to know how we can break it down for the ordinary person. And they say that is equivalent to 3 million hours of continuous color television programming.
3 million
3 million hours. That's what your brain is capable of doing.
That's the capacity.
You can run this, you call it Jam something?
The Jam 316.
Jam 316?
Yes.
For 3 million hours in color. That means 342 years.
Wow.
If you take the average
Non-stop.
lifespan of a Kenyan to be 60, because there are some people who drink kumi and they reduce our life expectancy. if you take it to be about 6 and not what we've been given as 70 by God, you are talking about almost 6 lifetimes. That a child will
One
be born
brain.
today. One brain. That's your capacity. In fact, they broke it down further and said something very crazy, that it could almost accommodate all the information in all the libraries and in all the computers in the US. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
What I'm saying is that you're powerful.
That's a supercomputer.
You are a supercomputer, the like of which no human being will ever make.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, what is even more interesting, they talked about the mind. That your mind has infinite capability.
What?
Yes, infinite. Now, can you imagine infinite capability software being run by the kind of hardware we've spoken about?
Yes.
What does that make you?
Ooh.
What God calls you. You are a God. You are his co-creator.
Yes.
But most of us are misusing our brains. We are misusing our brains. But the things we watch, the things we listen to, what you expose your brain to every day. Do you know, I read also that a normal human being runs 75,000 thoughts a day. That would be a lot of thoughts if they were positive.
Yeah.
The trouble is most of them are negative and recycled. Somebody is thinking the same things they were thinking in 2018.
Yes.
That
the good old days.
Yeah, I met James and he really corsared me. And you run that like a broken record in your head. You don't have time to create new things. What I'm saying is that if you can understand the power of your mind and be intentional about what you do with this mind, be intentional about creating new things to improve your life, this thing we are saying of making the most out of your life will just be like a fish swimming in water. It will come naturally if you are deliberate with how you think, if you are deliberate with being creative, if you are deliberate with making peace with your past and forget that place. Just move to your future. But as you do that, live today. Make today the best day of your life.
I like that.
That will give you a platform for tomorrow. And that is all a function of how you use your mind. Master your mind, you will lead this world.
No wonder the Bible tells us that as a man thinketh in his heart,
so is he.
So is he.
Yes.
And it still tells us nothing shall be impossible to them that believe.
Amen. The last pillar, nothing. The last pillar is a pillar of work.
Work.
Kazi.
Okay.
You meet anybody on the street, James, and ask them, who are you? They say, I'm so and so. What do you do? They're very proud to tell you what they do, isn't it?
I'm a radio presenter.
Yes, I'm a radio presenter at Family TV.
Yes.
At Family TV and radio.
Yes.
You know now you are a jack of many. You are a radio and TV presenter. Now, those who carry some titles, they say, I am architect so-and-so.
Yes.
I'm doctor so-and-so.
Engineer.
I am engineer so-and-so. I am pastor so-and-so.
Yes.
And that just tells you that work is so important because you spend most of your life working. Now, why then is the pillar being discussed here? It is so important, but there is a problem I have noticed. There are people who get a job and they don't do it as if their life depended on it. They don't give 100% to their work. And the moment you don't give 100% to your work, it starts defining how you do everything else in life. There's a guy called Eckhart Tolle who said, how you do anything is how you do everything. That pillar of work defines you.
You've gone too fast. How you do
anything is how you do everything. If James, you don't commit yourself where you spend most of your time, even when you go to your family, you cannot give 100% because how you handle work tells a lot about your general attitude of life.
Wow.
And I talk about work because I have also realized a lot of people are in jobs which they don't like. They go to work simply because they want the money to pay their bills. If you find yourself in such a scenario, even if you give yourself 100% to the work, at the end of the day, you'll be frustrated, you'll feel drained, and you will feel like you don't want to come to that work tomorrow because it's like slavery. So the pillar of work becomes important in this sense. Look for that which you can do even if you're not being paid, and do it so well that every day becomes a joy. Because if you find work you love, you never have really to labor any day. It is a hobby. You love it. You'll enjoy it. So you will even put in more than is required. And the other thing is this. If you are employed, you want to make the most out of your life or out of the year 2020, just remember this. If you give your boss 100%, even the day you will leave, you'll be able to step into whatever you're going to do and do more than 100%. And your boss will also be saying a good prayer for you. Acid test as to how you are doing your work. If today you were to tender your resignation, would your boss say, Fuchs, good riddance? Or will they say, James, please, what is it? Can we go to the boardroom and negotiate?
Come back.
Come back. Is it money? Can I add something on top? That's an acid test. Always ask yourself that question. Who would look for you because of the quality you bring on the table? So when you think about work, think about excellence. I remember when I was in Form 4, we used to have these books, autographs. And there's a young man who wrote for me in my autograph that, Steve, one of the things I've admired about you since we joined this school is that you've really been working very hard. You do not take shortcuts. And he said, never forget this. The worthiest ambition of a man is the pursuit of excellence.
You've never forgotten.
I've never forgotten. And everything I do, I want to be excellent. It takes time to get to those levels. But if you're pursuing excellence, you'll be able to withstand whatever obstacles come your way. You'll be able to deal with them because you see the goal. So whatever happens in between, you can deal with because you know where you're going.
I hope you're taking notes, my friend. I hope you're taking notes. 6 pillars. Oh, my goodness. That's point number 1, right?
That's point number 1. We have one to the last point.
Okay. We're going to point number 2 shortly. Remember, once again, it is all about making the most of 2020. How do you maximize on this year and make the most out of it? So you've covered one long point, and it has got quite a number of things that we have been thinking about. What's the second point?
The second point is simply about time.
Time.
What is interesting is that God has given every human being indiscriminately 24 hours in a day. But if you look at people generally, there are those who've utilized their time so well that they have become so successful. And sometimes you wonder, do they have more than 24 hours? Because it seems like. And there's somebody out there who's struggling and wondering, okay, how come my time just gets finished and I don't seem to be making progress? if you want to make the most out of your life or out of 2020, we need to begin with the smallest module of your life, which is basically like a second.
Yeah.
Somebody said that you were given by God 86,400 seconds every day. But what you will not have utilized at the stroke of midnight the next day, he takes away. It's gone. You'll never see it again.
Yeah.
And the way to think about time is to think, if that was dollars that somebody deposited in your bank account, it is $6,400. dollars. And they tell you, whatever you will not have used at the stroke of midnight the next day, I'll take away. How many of you would be sleeping? Very many people will spend a lot of time looking for what they call, where I come from, broti maguta. Your plots are just fat, rich, you know?
Yes.
In other words, you'd want to invest. But unfortunately, most people don't invest time.
Yeah.
And that is why I always tell people, we have three categories of human beings where time is concerned. We have the first category, which I describe as mediocre. Mediocre people waste time.
Yes.
They just waste it. If you ask them to account for it, they don't nothing.
Yeah.
They will use, or they will do all the most useless things. Gossiping, complaining, giving excuses, all manner of negativity. That is wasting time.
Yeah.
Then you have the ordinary people, which your majority people are. They spend time and they just do what is absolutely minimum. They don't go the extra mile. They don't go outside their comfort zone. If they are at work, whatever makes me not get sacked, that's all I will do. And the boss then makes sure they only pay you enough not to quit.
Yes.
You're just spending time. But then there's the great people, which is where you want to make the most out of 2020, you've got to graduate to.
Yeah.
They invest time. And when you invest anything, there's a return on investment.
Yeah.
So when you invest time, you expect some returns. And I want to just quickly go through how you invest time. Number one, realize that not all the hours have the same level of productivity. People who are very successful, most of them, I would say 99% of them, they are early risers. They rise early. They wake up early because they know there's a magic science in your brain, or that happens in your brain during those early hours. Like 5, if you're able to wake up at 5, it is quiet, it is peaceful, you can do so much, and you can prime your brain or your mind for productivity during the day.
You know why I'm smiling?
I don't know.
Because when you said that, a scripture came to mind. The scripture that says, a little sleep,
a little slumber,
a little folding of the hands to rest,
and poverty will come striking like a thief.
Yes.
Very true. The early hour is a most beautiful hour to prime yourself for the day. And you can get a lot done. Indeed, the pillars I was talking about, if you can just make sure that during that time, you do something for your mind, you do something for your spirituality, you do something for your body, the rest of the day will be awesome. And then take time before you leave your house during that early morning to plan that day, so that you know, if you're going to the office, this is what I need to do between this time and this time. You were never caught unawares by anything. And when you plan your day in the morning, you also cut out unnecessary action and distractions. Because you are focused. You know what exactly you want to do. But there's another part of time investment. Not all tasks of the day are the same in terms of the demands they place on you. There are some tasks which are very demanding. Please do them when your energy levels are very high. Somebody said, eat the frog in the morning. Eat your frog in the morning. It means that you need to handle what is most demanding, what is most important in the morning. Don't start having some funny meetings, social meetings in the morning. Do things that are affecting the bottom line of your organization in the morning. so that if there are social meetings or meetings that are not too demanding, you can do them after lunch when you are sleepy. There are people who will do work in the morning and they even have time to go and play golf because the input in the morning was so much that they don't really mind. They can take an easy afternoon.
You know, I hooked up with a gentleman who told me he plays golf 3 times a week. And I kept wondering, what are you talking about? When do you work? Until I learned what you're telling me.
It is very true. I didn't know this secret until I started training people on personal development.
Yes.
And I also learned that I have been able to do so much. I write my books in the morning. I read in the morning.
Yes.
And I prepare my lessons in the morning. When I go to class, students look at me and say, Steve, how do you teach for 4 hours without notes, without referring to notes? And yet you're giving us notes like you're reading.
Yeah.
I'm like, it is preparation.
Preparation.
It is how you use your prime time. And your prime time is in the morning.
Wow.
It is when you wake up. It is also how you decide to retire. Because anybody who invests time also knows this. Before you sleep, look at what you had written in your journal and evaluate every day whether you are able to achieve the things you wanted to achieve, so that by the time you come to the next day, if you haven't achieved, you already know why, and you do the necessary amendments and adjustments.
Wow.
Time will wait for no man. Time is unemotional.
Yes.
It is not a respecter of personalities or persons. It is a respecter of principles. You use your time well, and time will reward you handsomely. As I finish, James, let me just tell you
voices in my head.
Yes, that if you want to make the most of this year, you want to be great, just know this simple fact. Greatness is not a function of circumstances.
No.
Greatness is basically a matter of choice.
Wow.
So make the choices to do personal development, make the choices to invest your time, and by the end of 2020, you will be a very happy person. Thank you.
Awesome. Hujatuma salamu za mwaka mpya?
Salamu zangu nataka kutuma kwa mama papa aliendako kitambo akiwa nyumbani na familia yangu, pipi yangu na watoto wangu wakiwa nyumbani.
Yes.
Na marafiki wangu wote, and finally to the Born to Lead fraternity.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so proud of Born to Lead and what we are doing. All the coaches, all the members of alumni, and the students in the current classes.
Yes.
God bless you.
Steve, thank you very much. I hope we'll see more of you on Jam 316 in 2020.
As long as you invite me,
I will invite you.
I'm gonna be here.
Because what you have, we need it.
Thank you.
Awesome. I hope you wrote notes. I hope you've gotten something that will help you to spearhead 2020 to become the best year yet in your life.